Good Tuesday morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our primary live trade brief. This is day, whatever it is, 2, 3 of our free full throttle training. So welcome aboard. For those of you that are potentially new, you're joining us in a regular member brief here at 10 a.m. every Tuesday. We do the primary brief. You also just got a great example of how awful E-Trade is and why I'm probably taking my business somewhere else. They're just awful. Their platform's been slow. It's been down lately. Their customer service sucks. I have a couple large accounts there, and not that well, it actually does mean I should get different service and some level, but it doesn't matter with your platinum member not even answering the phone. Folks, I helped build a brokerage firm called Options House, and we would have been blasting out messages and at least giving you a heads up, because that helps prevent maybe the deluge to customer service and all those folks getting yelled at. Whenever you're having problems with your platform, you over communicate, you don't under communicate. So E-Trade sucks, and I'm most likely going to be leaving them soon. In my personal accounts, I'm long Amazon synthetic stock. I'm long Amazon actual stock. I'm long Myra stock, which is a big mistake. I'm long XLK with a bull put spread. We did that yesterday in our weekly options brief. By the closing bell, that trade was up 53% in a couple hours. So really good weekly options trade so far on XLK. And then in our solo Amazon brief, which isn't part of Full Throttle, we looked at putting on an XLY bull put spread, which is also looking pretty good. We're done our welcome aboard brief Sunday night. We're done our weekly options brief, which was yesterday. We're in our primary brief. We'll probably open our slots here at the end of the brief, so you pay attention. And then tomorrow at noon, we're going to do AR, which is accelerated retirement. And then we're going to wrap up Wednesday night. Again, nobody else does this, folks. Just about everybody else in the financial education space gives you 57 PowerPoint slides and tells you to be a member based on what they've done in the past, showing you trades from like 10 years ago. I open up the doors and you see what we're doing live, which is, I don't get, well, I don't get how folks do that. They listen to some dude or lady for an hour with a bunch of PowerPoint slides and then sign up for something. That makes zero sense to me. Anyway, is there no Full Throttle later this PM? If it's not on that slide, Rick, there is no, what do you mean Full Throttle? No, Full Throttle, the actual 8 sessions will probably be in February sometime, the 8 sessions. Primary live trade brief, quick intro. We're going to take a look at our performance, strategic and operational overview. We'll get tactical and look at some trades. And we'll be good to go. And then, like I said, we'll open up some slots. 50 annual memberships. When we get 50, we don't take any more. It's funny that every time we get a new kind of batch of folks through our lead generation, they don't believe it. People are like, once we close the doors to this Full Throttle program. I can't stand trying to teach 900 people something. We don't do that. It's the quality suffers, so we keep the slots limited. We're actually people who do that, and it's interesting to see some of the emails to support like, hey, I'm ready to join. It's like, well, you can wait till the next one to next quarter, and people get pissed off. Apparently can't listen or read, and you shouldn't be able to trade options. Norman, is there sound with this? No, I just sit here and click slides, hoping you can read. Small, tight-knit squadron. Like I said, if we don't get 50 by tonight, maybe we'll open up to fill the 50 with some monthly memberships. I prefer annual memberships, folks, because to be brutally honest, the month-to-month folks usually are the high-maintenance people. And I prefer to have people who are motivated and ready to get airborne and ready to drive the fight. Full Throttle training, which Rick just asked about, I do once a quarter. It's 8 live sessions. Tuesday, Thursday nights, start at about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, just depends. And we go for an hour and a half. It's aftermarket close with a glass of wine, and we sit here and talk about spreads, about condors, iron condor, whatever it is, whatever the tactic is that night. Nobody leaves with a question mark over their head or a clue bird sitting on their shoulder, man. It's an in-depth training. I strongly recommend you open a paper trading account somewhere. Everybody's got a paper trading account. That's what you should be doing. You should be blasting trades in a paper trading account before you know what you're doing. You got to go to the simulator, folks, before you get into a real jet, or you're going to kill yourself, period. So like I said, it's 8 live sessions 4 times a year, and we'll do our next group of 8 in sometime in February. I got to take a look at my schedule. You have got to watch the replays. It, I think we have every full throttle on there for the past 10 years. So guess what? 10 years ago, a covered call was a covered call, and it'll be a covered call 10 years from now. What changes during the different full throttles once a quarter are how we're applying the tactics. If you watch the last full throttle, it was around the election. There was different stuff going on, so we were using different tactics. If you watched the one before that, I think it was during the summer as we were rebounding from the COVID crash. So watch the previous full throttles. You get access to those, and that is a fantastic deal for you. But here's kind of the flow of what full throttle training is. If you have no idea what an option is and you feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, that's perfect, because we're going to start grabbing the fire hose there, and then by the end you'll be able you'll be taking a sip, because it won't be drinking from a fire hose anymore. Here's what full throttle is. So you get access to the 8 briefs that are live and all those replays from previous full throttles, and then you get access to the 4 live trade briefs I do throughout the week. We did weekly options yesterday at noon. Right now we're doing the primary live trade brief at 10. We do AR, which is accelerated retirement, Wednesday at noon, and then we wrap up our week on Thursdays with a weekly debrief, which is at 10. It's pretty easy to remember that stuff. Noon, 10, noon, 10. Okay, pretty easy to remember that. If you've heard of our other service called Solo Amazon, it's not included in Full Throttle Max. It's a separate external service, and we do that every Monday at 2, and we can talk about that in a couple weeks if we're so inclined. I'm not going to cover the performance or anything anymore, because I want to get airborne and start looking at stuff in the market, because that's more important. But just know that 2020 was our best year, but looking at 2020 is like driving around the Indy 500 looking in your rearview mirror. That's why I can't stand going to these presentations and watching people talk about what they did late. You're only as good as your last trade, man, and you have to be the power of now, man. You got to be present, and I'm showing you what we're doing presently, and nobody else does that in this community. Or if they do, they charge you like $500 for a week. I'm like, are you high? In Democrats are hypocrites news, Governor what's his name, Newsom, out in California. I think we're in a different place now. Of course we are. Joe Biden was elected. You destroyed your state. You destroyed your people. You destroyed your businesses. You let BLM and Antifa riot for 7 months. And now, with Biden president, maybe we need to open up. We can't keep the economy closed. It's a disgrace. Steve, and you show your losses too. Exactly. Total transparency. I do. You got to show your losses, man. It's so funny. I tell a story about when I was up in that firm in Chicago. I was doing due diligence on thestreet.com. And anybody remember Lenny Dykstra? Lenny Dykstra, I grew up watching Lenny Dykstra. He was a Philadelphia Philly. I thought the guy was great basketball player. He got into like finance and options trading, and he had a service on thestreet.com. I forget what it was called, but it cracked me up, man, because I've never had a losing trade. And you know what he did? He never closed a losing trade. Excuse me. He just kept rolling it. I'm like looking at his stuff. I'm like, oh my God. It's one of the recent, and he ended up in jail or something like that, but I think for IRS or something like that. Folks, when I built the Options News Network up in Chicago, my sister company was Options House, right? That's a broker dealer. Options News Network was about, training and all that stuff. So we had what we call a Chinese wall in between us, right? Because we can't give investment advice. They can. We can talk about stuff in general. So I lived in the compliance officer's office, because we didn't, there ain't no gray in the financial community. There's black and white. So being on this side of the fence, I'm very well versed in not doing wrong. And that's one of the reasons we didn't buy thestreet.com. There's a lot of snake oil running around out there. So Steve, I appreciate that. You got to cover the losses, man. Because it's so stupid not to cover losses, because then when people get on board and you have a loss, they all go ape shit. I'm like, I'd rather over talk about the losses than under. But anyway, the good thing, obviously, here at Top Gun Options is we have more wins than losses, or you wouldn't be in business anymore. Okay. Uh, Quick strategic and operational brief going around the globe. Nothing's really changed except things are getting worse. Things are getting worse over in Taiwan. China is really, really starting to. I saw one of my defense briefs, this reading through stuff, a Chinese tanker caught with the North Korean or something like that, transferring fuel, an Indonesian Coast Guard cutter like boarded it or something like that. Just because we're not talking, our media aren't talking about it doesn't mean stuff isn't happening. Clearly, North Korea is skirting sanctions. Clearly, North Korea is going to start lighting off bottle rockets again, because Democrats usually, when they're in presidency, and rhinos, when North Korea lights off bottle rockets, we go running with cash in hand to pay them off, and then the regime keeps it, and their people keep starving. At least Donald Trump stood up to the dude like, I'm going to kill you. He sat in his golf course in, I'll never forget, in New Jersey. He's like, I will rain fire and fury down on this guy, on you, like the likes of the world has never seen. I have it on very good authority that he might have even sent a picture from a UAV, a Predator, whatever it was, with like that dude in the crosshair. He's like, I'm not going to go to war and kill 25 million North Koreans. I'm going to kill you. And the guy's like, holy shit, man, this guy's nuts. He's nuttier than me. Maybe we should talk. So North Korea, all the acronyms that I used a couple years ago are back, right? Was it drink? Democrats, Russia, Iran, North Korea, China. It's kind of back, folks. The drink is back. DRINC. Here's what's going to move the markets in 2021. Democrats, Russia, Iran, North Korea, China. There are your strategic threats to the United States. Now, is Uncle Jerome and Grandma Yellen strong enough to fend off something like that? Do you remember years ago when Donald Trump's going to get us all killed in a nuclear war with North Korea? When the Democrats in Hawaii, they came up with the alert system. Here's how stupid government employees can be. Hey, let's run our emergency missile test system. Let's test our system here in Hawaii. Let's put it in a test mode. Do you want to do a test? No. Do you want to send a real missile alert? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Real missile alert sent. Everybody in Hawaii goes apeshit. Dude dies of a heart attack. They didn't even fire the employee. They sent him to retraining. If we ran our country, or could you imagine running this country as a business, how great things would be? Yeah, I saw that Trump opened the office of former president. Well, if Joe Biden can make up a fake office of the president-elect, then Donald Trump. I love that. That's awesome. He's not going anywhere, folks. He's going to be quiet for a while, which is crazy for him, and he's going to reemerge. I personally can't stand the guy, but a lot of his policies I clearly support. It was the messenger, not the message. Okay. Tom, will you share your view of the out-of-the-money call strategy used by the GameStop traders and that whole cluster? Tom, absolutely not. I will not spend 1 second on that at all. It's not investing. It's not trading. It's gambling, and we don't gamble here at Top Gun Options. Okay, tomorrow in Accelerated Retirement, we do stuff that makes sense. If you want to run around with the Robin Hooders and try and take out short squeezes and stuff like that, it's just not what I do. I don't chase fads. I sit here and do our work, and we print money. And that GameStop, Fizz, AMC shit is just not for me. You want to go buy some puts on it a month or two from now because it most likely implodes, knock yourself out. But I can't take up bandwidth on craziness. It really is. If you want to gamble with those type of things, Tom, find an amount of money that you have no problem putting on a table and lighting on fire and drinking champagne and watching it burn, because that's potentially what could happen. I see people chase these fads and they get kicked in the teeth and it hurts them. So you bet, Tom. CS, I don't think you realize how funny you are. Okay. Looks aren't everything. China overtakes the U.S. as world's leading destination with foreign direct investment. I got this wrong a couple years ago. I think it was 2015. As China's market went through the roof, I predicted they would overtake us as the world's economic superpower. I think I said in 2 years. So I meant by 2017. I was wrong. I didn't think Donald Trump would do as much as he did with no shit a trade war with China. So that kind of kicked him in the gut a little bit. Donald Trump gone, Joe Biden, the big guy, in with his crackhead son, and China is going to zip past us in the fast lane. So I got it wrong, but now I'm going to be right. A broken clock is right twice a day. China will overtake us as the world's economic superpower. I'm going to do the 2 year thing again. I mean, and in the next 2 years, as you guys know, I think they're taking back Taiwan. Just why wouldn't they? It's one China to Taiwan. A couple weeks ago, it took him long enough. What's his name? Pompeo came out and finally said, no, Taiwan, independent. We sell F-16s, M1 Abrams tanks. I think we sell them missile batteries. We sell them weapons. We arm Taiwan. It's about time we call them their own country. So going out the door, Secretary Pompeo left a couple flaming bags of what on the doorstep of the office of President-elect Biden. Like he designated China as a country committing genocide, which they are. Enjoy your iPhone made by a Muslim kid for 10 cents a year. I love Apple. I love Nike. I love Colin Kaepernick, and I'm against oppression. Some kid in China in a concentration camp made your shoes. But we don't like to talk about that, do we? Or the media doesn't. I love to talk about it because I love pointing out people's hypocrisy. So here we are. Starbucks, Microsoft, SMT, TI, Texas Instruments. I haven't followed Texas Instruments stock since I had a Texas Instrument calculator in high school. So I really don't care about that. I don't even know what it does. GE had some great earnings this morning, up nearly 9.2% pre-market. Holy crap. Johnson & Johnson, strong results. Raytheon was up, what was it, 6%, or maybe it was $6, whatever it was. Raytheon's on my whiteboard of stuff to get to eventually. Write RTX down, folks. RTX, we've traded for years. We got out of it, but this is a back burner trade. What do I mean by that? We will need Raytheon Technologies. Yeah, it was up 6%. Now it's kind of given some of that back. Why? Democrats do a fantastic job of getting us into wars. People forget about Obama and Clinton more or less getting us into a war in Libya. Hell, we lost an F-15 in Libya. People don't even, Yeah, you could, Karen. You could do a short-term tactical bear call spread on this thing. I mean, that's the wrong thing. RTX. Yeah, I'd sell into this pop, but very good earnings out of Raytheon. Raytheon Technologies, it's United Technologies and Raytheon. They combined last year. It's funny because Trump actually was kind of against that. Trump wasn't. It's so funny, man. Trump isn't a Republican. He was a limousine liberal for most of his life in New York. Realized there's no way in hell he could run for president as a Democrat, and then signed up as a Republican. I bring that up in the sense that when Raytheon and United Technologies talked about a merger last year or 2 years ago, he's like, I don't like that, which is not Republican. Republicans like big business and mergers like that. He really was kind of a blue collar, he was more Reagan-esque, but more Trump in his yeah, exactly. The Democratic Party left Donald Trump. Who was it? Roseanne Barr, too. I can't stand the woman, but she said the same thing. Like, you guys left me. I didn't go anywhere. I stayed right here. And then, here we are with socialism, or whatever you want to call it. But write this down for potential new members or folks, even if you don't join. This is a long-term bullish trade, and it's sad. It's interesting. Breaking news, China invades Taiwan on the bottom third of the screen, or a text alert, and I guarantee you Raytheon's up 20%. The defense stocks go up when shit goes bad. So there's a potential pairs trade. There's a free trade for you, or a trade idea based on what's going on in the world. These things were clearly under pressure for the past couple of years because Trump was doing what? Pulling us out of different places. So write that one down. Good earnings, but I think it's going to fade. This is definitely, we can talk about these tactics tomorrow in accelerated retirement, but this is definitely a long-term bullish trade that I will be taking a look at adding to my personal portfolio and our accelerated retirement portfolio. Apple, Facebook on tap, Microsoft, obviously, but things are pretty good. So in my mastermind group this morning, I reserve the right to be wrong. Like Steve said, I admit often when I'm wrong. But I might be wrong about a shit show February, folks. The briefer this morning said, you're right, seasonality, usually February, we sell the news into February and it's a shit show and we get back on our horse in March. He think, again, for all the new folks, how many of you, show of hands, there won't be one hand. How many of you are allowed to trade off the left side of a chart? How many of you, and nobody, and technical analysis is based on the left side of a chart. We make money out here where? In the white space. We make money projecting our thoughts forward in space and time so we can influence trades instead of react to the market. So nobody, well, out of 19.7 Februaries, 17 were volatile. I don't care. Janet Yellen, Jerome Powell, the Democrats controlling all three branches, that you need to project out here, not in the past. So every once in a while, when I say February is usually a shit show, I need to couch that with this isn't a normal February. So the briefer this morning, a very smart lady, was like, hey, man, tech earnings are going to be such a blowout that it's just, and you can't short this market, clearly. Look at all hedge funds. The GameStop and the whatever that idiot's hedge fund that was shorting a lot of this stuff is getting blown out. There's hedge funds that are having to rescue other hedge funds because the GameStoppers are destroying everybody. And it really should. I mean, look at this. Look how elevated above this moving average we are. That blue line is what's called a moving average. It's the 50-day. The 200-day moving average is out of the way here. And it looked, every one of these little dips here has been a what? A buy the dip. Whether it's the Robin Hooders, and it could be, I mean, they've never really seen a down market, right? I briefed you on the guy the other day, or two guys in the Wall Street Journal article that started trading when? In November. I don't trade puts, I just trade calls. Okay, well, that makes sense. that makes sense. Exactly. The market only cares when it cares. And right now, the market doesn't care. But my job here at Top Gun Options is to teach you to work a radar that is looking further out than what I call the drool cup. I'm staring here. I'm tactical. I'm trading GameStop. I'm watching some dude on CNBC. You got to pick up your binoculars and look down range. North Korea, Iran, China, Russia. You think Vlad is just sitting there going, America's imploding and I really don't care. Man. I sat on the couch last night watching the AMC Hitler series. I'm like, oh my God, cut, paste into the future here. So anyway, the good thing about being an options trader is this: we can be in the blink of an eye. Did you see the market action yesterday? So in our investing clubs, the Max Afterburner Club and our Hunters group, what happened yesterday, man? This was at 10:30, 10:45. The market imploded. And I told those two investment squadrons, I said, buy this dip. It's going to bounce off 3,800. Where'd it bounce? Off 3,800. I did a bull put spread up here that if you had held it for the day, you would have made $5,200. On the way down, right here, I bought puts. I bought the 3180, 3815 puts. Those made $3,000. And when the market turned, I bought calls for Wednesday. I think those made about $5,000. what I'm not patting myself on the back. What I'm saying is, as an options trader, we could be Johnny on the spot. Let me give you a little bit of an insight into a trading firm. Okay, the big beautiful firm I was at up in Chicago, or even and I don't have this on my required. I need to have a required watching uh, slide, meaning you got to watch Billions. Write that down or remember it. You have got to watch Billions on Showtime. Period. That's not a request, that's an order. I want you to watch Billions. Why? Because in a big firm, so this is, our analysts, this was our analyst section. This was the hedge fund all the way in here. These were the prop traders. Options House was in another building. The Options News Network was upstairs. But over here is a boardroom. It's on the second floor. Look at that. It had a railing around it. Beautiful works of art all over the place. Please watch Billions. Now I'm begging you. You have to, if you want to know what's going on, you have to watch Billions. So, why am I rambling about this? I'm rambling about this because yesterday, as this stuff started happening, the market imploded. I'm like, holy shit, those are some big sell orders. Buy some puts. Buy. 3,800. I'm like, it's going to bounce off 3,800. Bounced off 3,800. I bought some calls. We can do that in the blink of an eye. We're a single seat fighter pilot. We are single seat traders. In our investment squadrons, we kind of act in concert, and that kind of is what exactly. So we at Top Gun Options have exactly what was going on in the middle here. But those are kind of individuals. As a firm, like if the market really started imploding yesterday, these dudes and ladies in the middle here kind of have enough authority up to a point. You have a book, right? You have a book of $1 million, $5 million, $10 million. A partner might have had more than that. That's kind of your limit. But if as the firm as a whole wants to get bearish, or we own 100,000 shares of Amazon, let's dump it. That's a pretty damn big decision. So what happens? All 4 or 5 senior traders up the stairs over into the boardroom, and then everybody's going, well, I'm going to stop by the kitchen first and get a cup of coffee, and I'll put my pad and paper down. Now I'm going to hit the head, and okay, let's get settled. And everybody goes around. What's going on, man? And if, let's say, we do as an investment committee, it's funny that at the lunchtime at the half, Judge Wapner calls it our investment committee today, because guess what? If a big firm wanted to dump Amazon or Alder Apple, guess what happens? They can't do this. First of all, they can, but it would be fatal. Sell 100,000 shares of Amazon. Enter. Boom! Now, first of all, it's probably going to get out that that's what they're thinking about doing, and people are start front running them. I could give an 8-hour lecture alone on what happens. That's why I'm begging you to watch Billions, because you'll see a lot of what happens. And remember, if somebody is trying to get out of something like that and it's that big, now the thing really starts moving. Now they have to adjust their price. So it's very hard for this is a super tanker doing 30 knots. And if you try and throw the rudder over or hard over, guess what's going to happen? It takes the state of Texas for a super tanker to turn. Okay. And during that turn, they're losing a shit pot of money. That's another reason why in January and February, as I'm like, get out of everything bullish, get bearish, we made millionaires. Because going down, they're like, oh, geez, let's meet and discuss this. No, this is the bottom. Actually, let's buy more. Idiots. Holy shit. Let's get out. Now we really can't get out, but let's get on CNBC and tell everybody else to buy because we need the help. So long tangent and divergent, but I'm just giving you a little heads up into the reality of how this stuff works, right? So let me get back to my point here. My point being is the person who was briefing this morning, like I said, very smart lady. Everybody's kind of committed. I mean, I'll know a lot of these. One guy trades a very big family office. I'll know, and I transmit it immediately to my investment clubs. Hey, man, somebody just yelled fire, and let's get out of the theater. Okay, but until that happens, all of these massive firms, these large family offices that are long Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon, aren't bailing yet. Okay. but they can. That's what happened yesterday. Apparently, it was a large family office who dumped a bunch of SPX and caused kind of a little bit of a panic. Like, if that dude firm is getting out, the Greenwich firm, then is this the big one? This will happen again in the future, and it will be the one where all the other firms start bailing too. I will tell you, even though if you watch Billions, you can see that some owners of these firms hate each other. They don't necessarily hate each other, but they're in a mine's bigger than yours race. I saw it all the time, man. They kind of respect each other, but it is a little Gordon Gekko-ish. But at a certain point, they do maybe pick up the phone and go, hey, man, maybe let's jump together. Or this happens all the time, man. They go to Gibson's in Chicago or whatever the name of the vault restaurant is in New York, and let's come up with a tactic. But we, as a little remora fish swimming under a shark, we can. If you were in our investment clubs yesterday, you saw us executing pretty damn well. Yesterday was fantastic fun. But if you can't, because I don't like doing that, folks. I didn't like. A matter of fact, right around here, I got out of the bull put spread. It took a little bit of a loss because what did I do? I'm like, I'm done. I've been sitting here for too long. I'm going to the gym. I don't sit here and day trade. So if you don't want to sit here and day trade, which I don't do or want to do, you can kind of go, well, guess what? And this is more for tomorrow, not for today. I have other stuff to talk about today. You can get some trades on out to February that kind of protect you if you don't want to be Johnny on the spot. And I don't. Maybe I'm flying out to go skiing for a couple weeks in Colorado. I don't want to be sitting on the ski lift looking at my phone all day. I'm going to have stuff on in case, I'm feeling it, folks. This is, again, what am I feeling? I'm feeling 30 years of experience. And based on everything I just rambled through, it doesn't matter what that 30 years of experience is doing. I got to go put my mind forward. Okay. All right. So nice little tangent right there. All right. Let me look. So last week in the primary brief, where are we? Primary live trade briefs. Yeah, the SPX it was a monster run into the close. Well, let's just take a look at it. Look at that market action yesterday. Implosion. There's the elevator or the window down, and literally an escalator up, and then a smash into the close. That was a short squeeze into the close because a lot of folks were thinking, "Now we're gonna fill this gap yesterday," and we didn't. You know what? FXI, our FXI trades are actually in the primary portfolio, so we are going to talk about these. Sweet. I don't think it's over in this one though. No, it's over in this one. Okay, well, let's talk through FXI. So if you're new, for all the new folks, FXI, you got to write this one down. SID, a short squeeze, essentially, when you're short, this will be we can talk about this in the full throttle training. Here's your quick definition. People who are short, firms who are short, go to a broker and say, I want to short this stock or this index or this ETF. The broker goes and borrows shares. Sometimes they might even take yours and you don't know about it. Deeper discussion. Just know this. The people who short something say, hey, I'm going to replace those shares when they're at a lower price. So somebody who is short thinks something is going to go down. Okay? So yesterday there was a bunch of folks, as the market just kind of hovered, who thought SPX was going to come back down into the close, like just get pounded. So they were short. If you're short, the second the position starts going against you, the stock, the ETF, or the index starts going up, you're losing money pretty damn quickly. How do you get out of a short? You actually have to buy. It's almost counterintuitive. You're betting something's going to go down. Yep, it doesn't. It starts going up. Oh, shit. To get out of a short position, you have to buy whatever it is. In this case, the SPX. So it creates what's called a short squeeze. Like all the shorts that are panicking, like, holy crap, we got to get out, have to buy whatever it is, which makes it go up even more. That's why You have to be insane to short anything. Do not do it. When I use the term short in options trading, I mean bearish. I need to do a better job of that. So if I say, hey, I'm short SPX for today, that doesn't mean I'm short, like I'm buying share or selling share short. It means I'm doing a bearish trade. Okay, so there's a difference between short trading and just being bearish in options. Does that make sense? Okay. Now I get it. Thanks for the awesome explanation. Knew what short and bearish was, but yeah, exactly. I need to clean that up. So today, looking at SPX, I'd probably maybe look at a bear call spread, which means I'm bearish, right? But short, somebody who's short is borrowing shares, saying I'm going to put them back when the thing's lower, and then if it doesn't go lower and goes up, holy shit, they got to buy to get out. That's why it's called a squeeze, and it looks like this. So that's what happened. I don't want to really talk about it, but with the GameStop stuff, this one hedge fund, again, the smart money, these little punk ass hedge fund managers. I'm brilliant. What's his name? Bill Ackman. Remember Bill Ackman from CNBC? Hell's coming at the COVID crisis. But Bill Ackman was shorting, what was it called? Herbalife. It's a Ponzi. I love these type of investors or these dudes, or like Carl Icahn. Carl Icahn can get on CNBC and go, I love Apple. It's fantastic. Even though an hour ago he bought $50 million of Apple, he gets on CNBC and says, I love Apple. Apple goes up $3. The guy just printed money. Is that illegal? No. Same thing with Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman looked at Herbalife and called it a Ponzi scheme. The salesman get paid this, and he was trying to pound Herbalife into the dirt. But this is and he ended up getting pounded into the dirt. But here's what's funny is, um, I have to say it again. You have got to watch Billions. Start watching it tonight, because guess what happens? Everybody, if I ran a super massive, huge billion-dollar firm and I'm sitting here like, Bill Ackman is short Herbalife, I can't stand Bill Ackman. Hey, trading desk, give me $1 billion of Herbalife. And then all of a sudden I'm squeezing Bill Ackman. He loses money and I put him out of business. This happens. Why do you think I say trading is a form of combat? I've seen it. Maybe I've been a part of it. No comment. Right? Does that make sense? All right, let's get back on track here, because I got a busy day. FXI. So we are long FXI in the primary live trade brief model portfolio. FXI, folks, is the iShares large cap China. I used to love Trump when he'd say China. China ETF. Okay. I hate saying this. I explained the other night how I wear two suits. I wear a flight suit at Top Gun Options. I think China's awful. They are committing genocide. They steal everything. They don't innovate for shit. Quick option story. Here's how sleazy China is. And if they're listening, I didn't say any of that. I salute our new overlords, China, and Xi Jinping, our dear leader. Now let's get back on track. I forget how long ago it was, but you all know Heinz Ketchup, right? Senator John Kerry married rich with Teresa Heinz Kerry. John Kerry, who would instead of parking his big yacht, his sailboat, where did he park it? A mile down from his port in Massachusetts in Rhode Island, so he didn't have to pay Massachusetts tax. Love the Democrats. And then the media broke that story. He's like, oh, okay, well, I'll sail it back down here. Taxes for thee, but not for me. Back on track. Heinz Ketchup, Warren Buffett, and 3G Capital 5 years ago. I forget when this was. But guess what? 2 days before Heinz Ketchup was acquired by 3G Capital and Warren Buffett, and the options volume on Heinz call and put options, I think, was one contract traded every other leap year. I'm not joking. Zero. I mean, they hardly ever traded. 2 days before the announcement of the merger, 80,000 out of the money calls were bought. That's breaking news. Warren Buffett, 3G Capital buying Heinz Ketchup. The stock went straight up. I forget how, somebody Google this story. I forget, but I lived it. I forget how much those calls made. Um, you know, uh, it was insane. But I mean, if you didn't think that the SEC or somebody's going to go, what? But you can be forgiven for that, because if you looked at the Bernie Madoff thing, guess I was in the Chicago Board Options Exchange when Bernie Madoff would send out monthly trade confirmations of just his trades. Just Bernie Madoff's trades for a day was like more than the SIBO for a month. There, I forget the name of the guy who like put all this stuff together and sent it to the SEC like every week. Like, this guy's saying just him traded more contracts than this entire SIBO that day. Does not compute. Well, maybe because Bernie Madoff's daughter married a heavy at the SEC. What a disgrace. The guy should have been given a medal. I think the government actually paid him eventually, but the guy, the whistleblower for Bernie Madoff, it literally, the guy's like faking invoices, like, or whatever, trade confirmations, like, hey man, we traded this many on this day. The SIBO traded this many. There's your government. Back to Heinz Ketchup. So 80,000 calls. The SEC looks into it and they're like, it's a Goldman Sachs account. Shocker. Goldman Sachs is like, whoa, what? They do some digging and look at it. It was very hard to track. It ended up being an account in Switzerland. Yeah, it sounds like our last election. It was Dominion brokerage firm. They tracked this account and then all of a sudden it disappeared. I got a couple buddies who know for a fact who it was. It was the 12th floor of the People's Liberation, their Pentagon. They are making money. They're hacked in. They were hacked into Goldman Sachs. They're hacked into JP Morgan years ago. I think 2 or 3 years ago. I remember the Wall Street CEOs going. Wall Street CEOs don't go to Washington begging for, hey, jump into our business. That's the exact opposite. But based on the hacking, the Chinese army, the North Koreans, they're all hacked into, hey, I'm very happy that this deal's going to close tomorrow. What if you could hack into there? Would you do it in fear of foreign country? Yeah, you would. I got onto this tangent, folks, because of this. You got to be bullish on that. That's wrong, Wiz. You want a friend, buy a dog. You want to make money? Here we are. So look at the chart of FXI. So we are long-term bullish on FXI. We did, how long ago was that? I think we did it in both. But once you become a member, new FXI spread, I'll show you how to, maybe we'll do that for our training tomorrow night. That'll be our training. Because here's what's good about being long-term bullish on FXI. When, not if, this happens, do you think China cares? No. As a matter of fact, for a couple of years there, I was trading the hell out of EWZ, which is Brazil, and FXI. That was kind of our international flavor. Okay, we might actually. I got my whiteboard and I got my daily kind of go look around. Bolsonaro down in Brazil, they call him the Trump of the tropics. There's the COVID crash. He kind of did it. He kind of did a Trump. It's fake. It's whatever. Go back to work. So not doing as good as FXI. And Brazil was also going to be good because what? The trade war with the United States, Xi Jinping's like, hey, Donald, no offense. Why am I going to go buy a soybean for you for $1 when Bolsonaro in Brazil's like, I'll do it for a nickel? Remember that morning? God, remember this history? Trump woke up somewhere back in here and said, he woke up and hit Bolsonaro right in the face with a trade war. And Bolsonaro at a press conference, somebody asked him like, hey, do you know this just happened? He's like, Trump's my buddy. That's your fake news. I'll call. Well, he called and yeah, Trump's like, you even think about doing business with China and we got our own trade war. David, your FXI, EWZ, and February S&P 500 puts were some of my trades of the year. That's the month. This month we did like $2.1 million in profitable trades that I covered in live trade briefs. Back to FXI. I think tomorrow night I'll do that in our full throttle train. I'm going to show you how you have to be long-term bullish on China. That's it. They're passing us. We're sitting in the left lane down here in God's waiting room in Boca. Can't even see the steering wheel with our blue hair and our blinker on. And there goes China in my 911, right past us. I guarantee you. Now, the FXI won't be completely immune to our pullbacks, right? But I mean, this run. Let's overlay the S&P 500 with them. SPX. So look at this. We're the green line is our S&P 500, and this is China. Kind of underperformed that. So it doesn't really super follow our S&P 500. What's our last trade we did on SPX? I think we were doing bear call spreads, weren't we? We go back one because I'm feeling a bear call spread on FXI. Hello. FXI short calls and bear call spread. Oh yeah, it's a good point, Steve. So folks, and here's the other reason you must be bullish. I didn't say maybe, I said must. These 4 letters. The People's Bank of China. This is their Fed. The PBOC makes our Fed look like it's doing nothing. When their market, when they went through their 2009, they went through their financial crisis right here. Look at this. This was insane. Look at their markets. Holy crap. Oh shit, we're all going to die. Holy crap. Oh shit, we're all going to die. When they had their financial crisis on the way down, you know what they did? They banned short selling. They arrested 200 journalists who were writing bearish financial articles. They said you could only buy stocks. They ordered all of their pension funds and large companies to rebuy their shares. And then that did that. They did everything that in America, well, we might get there, but you'd be like, oh my God. So their brand of capitalism is really interesting. But this is for all of these, there's a that. For all of these, there's this. And then for all of these, we're kind of up here. So I'd be a little short-term bearish on FXI, to be honest with you. Yeah, good point. We're back in the Paris Accord, and China is not. But the PBOC, the People's Bank of China, I'm not joking. If Jerome Powell can sit on a 60 Minutes interview and go, I just make money, I just hit enter, and sometimes I mail it to Federal Reserve banks. China can do even more. When they throw people, when you can, when you can force capitalism at the end of a bayonet, it's a pretty bad system, but who are we to say? It might actually be a pretty good system. But this is a record high in the FXI up here, and I'm feeling a bear call spread here. 48.5, 49 is what we did last time. I mean, that's a record high. I'd go out a couple weeks though. Take a look. Let's go out a couple weeks and take a look at the I think February will be a shit show, as you guys know. I've heard some good evidence saying it won't be tonight or this morning. That's let's go FXI. But they will not be immune to an us. Plus, I just think every time the FXI, you saw it, it looks like a heart. It almost looks like the VIX. It looks like a heart rate monitor. You have these rip your face off rallies on FXI, hover, and then it gives it back. Let me take a look. How much we got going on in here? I don't know if I have enough buying power. Crap, I might have to do that. I'll do this one. Well, let's map it out over here. So this is the PLTB portfolio, and what are we? We're up. This is up 20 grand this month. Yeah. So men lie, numbers don't. This is the primary live trade brief portfolio. We're looking pretty damn good in here. All right. Let me build this trade out first. Wait, that's way too many. 25. 50. I'm playing with the contracts, folks, to get me around my risk, my max potential, right in my zone here. Okay, so for this one, based on, so again, we talked the other night about having an SOP based on $100,000 model portfolio. My SOP is that I don't want to risk more than 5% on any one trade. How did I come up with that? That's me. That's after 30. That's me, like beginning trading 30 years ago and going, man, I can make this much in a trade. I want that much in this trade. And I lost more than I ever. I'm like, holy crap, I didn't know I could lose that much. Yeesh. 5%. You can use 10%. You can use 1%. You can use 100%. Adds up to you, man. I can't tell you what to do. I'm just telling you that 5% of a model portfolio is a pretty damn, if you suffer the max loss, you sit there and go, that stings. I didn't get shot down, right? So 5% is a nice, good, again, I'm going to teach you my SOP, and then it's up to you to kind of come up with kind of what you want your own. So, Jordan, I have joined in the past and was not ready for combat. I read your PDFs multiple times and have beefed up my knowledge. Awesome. I was wondering which training you offer goes over any of those. The full throttle training, Jordan, kind of complements the workbooks that you got access to. So those 8 sessions complement that. All right. Let's build out this trade. So strategic mindset, step 1 in our trade plan. We always got to walk through our trade plan. FXI 126. Let's walk through our trade plan. Step 1 is what? What's our strategic mindset? Cautiously bullish. I could not be more cautiously, but bullish at the same time. Target is FXI. Commit criteria. I kind of rumbled through it. At historic highs on the FXI, every time it's hit these historic highs, sellers, it hovers for a little bit and then comes back in before it resumes its upward climb there. Tactic, bear call spread, tactical employment. I'm going to sell 50. Why 50? Give me 2 minutes. I'm going to sell 50 of the Feb 12, 53.5. I picked this expiration because it's in the middle of a potential shit show. If I'm wrong and February ends up being a rally, I want to keep my leash a little bit shorter on this trade so maybe I can eject or get out of it or adjust if needed. I'm selling 50 of the Feb 12, 53.5 calls. That means I don't think it's going to be above 53.5 by that date. What if I'm wrong? With Xi Jinping invades the United States and, the FXI goes to the roof. It just has a great climb. Well, let's buy some upside calls. These are kind of some non-standard expirations too. I usually like doing 50-cent wide strikes. The 53.5, 54 would be, let's go out a week and see if I can get like a 53.5, 54. Oh, you know what? This one's better. Scratch that. This is the trade. Let me explain real quick. I like doing 50-cent wide strikes. Why, you ask? You'll learn in your full throttle spread training. I don't like whatever that was, a $2.50 wide strike, right? Bigger football field, easier to drop bombs in, smaller, easier, less easier. I'm going to sell 150 of the regular February. Feb 21 is what? When you see an E-trade, when you see a month and a year, that's the 1, 2, 3. It's the third Friday of the month. Regular options expire the third Friday of every month. So again, when you see a month and a year, that's the third Friday of that month. If you see a month, a day, and a year, that's called a weekly option. Again, this will be in your training. Where'd my calls go? 54. Here we go. This is perfect. Sell 150 of the Feb 21 53.5 calls. Buy 150 of the 54 calls. Okay, so real quick, Feb 21 means the third Friday of the month. Sorry, the screen was frozen there. Mitch, we'll cover CSX tomorrow. That's in accelerated retirement. We don't mix portfolios. I'm going to try and get filled at 15 cents plus or minus about 2 cents. So the lowest I'd go for today is 13 and the highest I'd go is 17. 15 cents plus or minus about 2 cents. Oh, you know what? I didn't look at that. We should have looked at the volume and the open interest. Somebody, let's go write that down. Save as FXI. Yes. Let's go look at the options chain. All right, so keep an eye on, what are we doing? The 50, this one, tab 21, right there. Wow, look at that. We're moving. So folks, Top Gun Options, you talked about the investment committee. We're keep an eye on this volume and open interest, 43. Keep an eye on those numbers. Okay. All right, on this screen, let's talk about the bad. Look, we're already moving the price around. I want all 15 cents, right? We want that 15 cents to go to zero. If it starts increasing, that's bad. So just double the credit that you take in. If you take in a credit of 15 cents, you maybe eject at 30 cents, maybe eject. Why? Because if you go back to your commit criteria and they're still valid, stay in it. If you go back to your commit criteria and they're not, get out of it. Okay, so that's the bad. That's where we'd maybe eject. We haven't even placed this trade and we know when we're going to get out for minimum loss. What about profit? We talked about this yesterday. 70, 80, 90. If I'm looking at a 70 or 80 or 90% profit on this credit that I'm taking in, close the trade. Do not turn a 70, 80, 90% winning trade into a losing trade. It'll suck and you won't ever do it again. Okay. My mouse keeps clicking over here. Okay. So 70, 80, 90, 789 is when you take profit based on that credit we're taking in, or double the credit that you get filled on. Right now, if I got filled at 14 cents, I'd look to maybe eject at 28. I think I'm right clicking on my mouse here. Okay. As soon as we click analyze, this is the only place our eyes go. Max potential loss, $5,400. Folks, that is based on 150 contracts. You don't want to risk $5,400. You don't do 150 contracts. Do one, do 150, do a million. I can't tell you what to do. You're the pilot in command of your aircraft and your portfolio. I'm showing you what I would potentially do. So risk in 54. Once you, as the pilot in command, put a check mark here and go, I acknowledge my risk. I acknowledge this. Ain't going to be happy about it, and that's why you maybe want to eject before you take the max loss, but I understand that. Do not ever look at the max profit and go, yeah, that's what I want, without knowing your max risk. Okay? So, risk in 54 to make 21. We make money 3 out of 4 ways in this trade. There's the current price of FXI, that big dotted line. FXI goes down, we make money. FXI hangs out where it is for the next couple of weeks, we make money. Folks, FXI can even go up a little bit as long as it stays below this point right here, which is what? It's already on the screen, the break even. Okay, so this is a pretty good looking trade, good risk to reward ratio. Let me grab a screenshot of this because I'm going to send it out in an email to my members and also a text alert. So if you can't attend the briefs, folks, you're sitting in death by Zoom meeting, you're going to be able to sit there and get a text message and an email alert at the same time. Preview. Okay. 53 and a half, 54 at 15 cents. Scott, I have heard a person wants to limit their size to around 20 contracts per order, or you get noticed by the market makers. Is there any truth to that? Scott, that 20 contracts doesn't even, unless you're trading Amazon, doesn't mean a thing. We're kind of smaller fish in the sea. Now, as a group, we might start getting noticed. So this was 93 and 2. This was 47 or whatever that was. So we're already moving the price a little bit. In our investment clubs, in FXI and EWZ months ago, we were moving stuff around. All right, I need to blast out a text and email alert with that trade to our members, but it is time to open up the slots here, because look at that, 10:59. Put the bomb right on time, on target, to open up the doors here. Good stuff. So, like I said, we 50. We take a nice small squadron here, and we like it. All right. So here's what we're going to do. It's official. And actually, I love when people do this, because on the replay page, you could have clicked on, hey, access now. I think 7 people got their full throttle slots yesterday. I love, love, love that. Good job. So here's what you get today. As we open up the doors, you're going to get access to those 4 live skill-based trade briefs that we do Monday through Thursday. You're going to get access to the 8 live training sessions where you're going to learn how to do this, man. We demonstrate in the 8 training sessions how to do something, and in the trade briefs we do. If we do a full throttle training on a Tuesday night about iron condors, maybe Wednesday, the next day we go into a live brief and we go do it live in the market. Demo, do. You're going to get access to our 3 skill-based manuals, which somebody just came up and said, hey, man, those things are worth their weight in gold. They are. Those are your flight manuals, man. And they're priceless. They're good stuff. Bury your heads in them. And you get text and email alerts for 3 of the 4 services. In accelerated retirement, we don't do text alerts, since those trades are usually longer term. They're not like time sensitive. So most, I'd say 80-85% of our current members are in what's called Full Throttle Max Annual. Okay, it's an annual membership. Like I said, if we don't get our 50 by tomorrow night, we might let some of you join month to month, but don't be that squeaky wheel. Weekly options every Monday at noon. Primary, we are in it. AR tomorrow at noon, and then the weekly debrief is every Thursday at 10 a.m. Quick reminder, Solo Amazon is a separate service. It's out on its own. Maybe we'll talk about it in a couple weeks if folks want to add that to it. Remember, folks, nearly 80% of our current members work. You don't have to be here live, because we send out, I'm going to do it right now, a text alert and an email alert in the brief. And everything's recorded, as you saw. Everything is recorded and placed on the replay page. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes for the replay to render on my computer and me to upload it to the member page. Make sure you show up early to the briefs if you can. I started this during the COVID crisis. I started opening up the room early to show folks what I'm kind of doing in my own personal accounts. And then the training starts on time to the second. I have the U.S. Naval Observatory atomic clock, and my watches are keyed to that, and that's when we start. So, but I open up the rooms usually early and just kind of show you what I'm doing that day, which is kind of a little added benefit. Chris had been a subscriber for almost 3 years now, and that brief was the first time he's able to attend live. Isn't that cool? Yeah, and exactly, Scott. Quick reminder, folks. There's no sound during that. Sometimes I open the room early. I'm looking at something and I go get more coffee, or I go take my kid to school or something. And so people, please do not ask me 90 questions. I'm not on the clock until the brief starts. So people log in and are like, there's no sound. I'm like, of course there's no sound. I ain't working early. I'm working on me. Yeah, you're right, man. At the beginning, at the financial crisis, people were begging to get in, and that's literally why I started those 2 investment clubs, folks. You're right, Dave. Okay, there's the Full Throttle training schedule. Like I said, I got my desktop calendar. I don't know, start the week of the 8th or 15th in February. I'm not sure. I have to look at my schedule, but this will be the Q1 Full Throttle training. Tuesdays and Thursday nights, 7, 8 o'clock, go for an hour or 2. They're all recorded. Market's closed. We hang out and we dig into that tactic. And there's no stupid question, trust me, man, because I probably asked that question when I was learning about this stuff. And actually, there wasn't a Top Gun options. I had to build this thing, man. I built it for me, man, a knuckle dragger getting into options. Okay, here's the manuals: primary, intermediate, advanced. You get access to those, and then the 8 Full Throttle training sessions. Soon as you become a member, for the folks who sign up right now, who are the smartest, go watch the training. Start watching the last session there, or whichever it was. Next session, February. FEBRUARY. Go watch the training, the previous trainings. Doesn't matter if they were months ago. It doesn't matter because a covered call is a covered call, right? Okay. Let's figure out how we get airborne here. We're going to go, and I'm not gonna. I have a. There was like 9 slides of testimonials and case studies. I'm not going to do that. This should kind of sell itself. Here's where you need to go. Go.topgunoptions.com/getft. Let me put that in the chat box. Boom. Go.topgunoptions.com/getft. Now, everything's on this page. I'm not going to go everything I just briefed you on is on here, but here's the difference in the programs. Like I said, 99.9% of people are over here, max afterburner annual, right there. That's the best thing. But then we have 2 other tracks. If you sat in the weekly options brief yesterday and you were like, holy crap, he put this trade on now and it expires on Friday, that's a little too tactical for me. Then do the defensive track. It doesn't include weekly options. If you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, I like weekly options, I'd like that. I don't need accelerated retirement. That's old and stodgy. That would be offensive. But that's why I'm telling you, most people like the weekly options, even if they aren't trading them right now, and accelerated retirement. So, and yes, whoever just asked, you can upgrade into Max eventually. By the end of the closing bell yesterday, the XLK trade itself was up nearly $2,500. So with one trade in about 4 hours yesterday, I paid for an annual subscription. If we had closed a trade, I didn't close it, obviously. Mike, I'm a monthly guy. Want to upgrade to annual? Shoot an email to support@topgunoptions.com and you can upgrade. Goose, traded solo, been doing this for years and years. Watch TGO from a distance. Email, dumb. Join and dive in, smart. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So the full throttle max. Let me say it again. If we don't get 50 before tomorrow or tomorrow night, I will open up some monthlies. But right now, folks, after doing this for a long time, I prefer to get the annual members. They're a little bit more. I will use the term dedicated. I don't like the tire kicking. I get it, but this is the tire kicking. People are like, do you have a 30-day trial? The answer is no. I had a 5-day trial. And if after 5 free briefs, you don't know if this is for you, I don't want you signing up, to be honest with you. You will always get respectful truth out of and not artificial harmony from me. So the link is in the chat box, go.topgunoptions.com. So here you go. Look at this. The XLK put spread from yesterday is up 50 whatever percent. It was up $2,400 when I just came over here and clicked on it. Mike, tire kicked for months, dumb. I appreciate you saying that, Mike, because as a businessman, when I open up the monthlies, I want everybody to be in month to month to month to month because the monthlies are a hell of a lot more expensive than the annual, to be honest with you. So, Mike, thanks for doing that. It is dumb. So I'm trying to help you out here. The monthlies will be more expensive annualized than the annual. So I strongly recommend you jump in now and grab the annual. See, Jill, you were one of them. Tried to get in last time after you had closed the doors. You really closed the doors. That I said we would do that. We kind of do. We kind of do what we say here. Let's go back and take a look at SPX. The link is in the chat box, folks. It's really easy to remember. Go.topgunoptions.com/getft. That stands for get full throttle. Yep, whoever else just wrote that too. Yeah, if you're currently in a monthly and you want to upgrade, just email support. Hey, I'm in a monthly and I want to upgrade. I might be buying some puts here live. Feeling like we might be a little heavy here. All right, SPX. What's going on? If we break that 3850, it's going to be with some airspeed. SPX, I didn't type FXI, folks. Uh-oh. This might be like yesterday. That's a big sell order right there. cell phone. This might be like what happened at, look, 10:45 yesterday. That happened. Look at this. Right there. 10:50 this happened, and this is happening again today. Let me drop in at 38.50 here. I might be buying some puts like I did yesterday. Those were nice. Well, I'm not going to sit here and day trade with you, but this is what I do with the investment clubs. That's interesting. We'll see if it bounces off that. Andrew, will Apple continue its run after earnings? I have no idea. I can't predict the future. So here's what I think will happen with Apple. I think it has a monster quarter. I think we get a knee-jerk reaction up, and then I think we are going to have a little bit of an interesting February. Remember, folks, you see money rotate into stocks. Apple, it's same thing with the financial earnings. Same thing's going on with tech earnings. Money is a nomad. Money is going out of stuff and rotates into stuff. So the financials ran up in earnings and they sold off. Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon are running up in earnings. I think they sell off. So Andrew, for me, I'm getting out of my Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon after earnings. I plan on being almost 100% cash for February. I don't have FOMO. I don't have on fear of missing out of a rally. As there's an aviation saying, I'd rather be on the ground wishing I was airborne than airborne with my engines on fire wishing I was on the ground. So I don't mind sitting here, and in February, if it implodes, I'm going to do what I did last February and make millionaires. If for some reason I'm wrong and Joe Biden drops financial nukes and Janet and Uncle Jerome and just whatever, we go higher. Oh, darn, I missed out on a little upside. I don't have FOMO, period. That's the discipline I need to teach you guys here at Top Gun Options. I don't have FOMO. It's just not, I don't calculate FOMO. I sit here and go, whew, oh, geez, I missed out on a little bit of upside. Or, holy crap, what a shit show. And I'm sitting here pounding the market into the dirt. I'm going to teach you all this stuff. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, I got to send out a text and email alert. Nope, breaking. If we break 38.50 with airspeed, I'm buying puts. Good. Welcome aboard. Please send the link for the replays. These are really easy links to remember, folks. go.topgunoptions.com/FT full throttle replay. Okay, so look in the chat box for the link to the replays. Look in the chat box for the link to purchase. My phone's buzzing a couple times, so people are grabbing their annual membership. So get ready. Where's SPX? I'm going to keep this under the trigger. We might be seeing some downside here. We break 38.50 with airspeed. I'm buying puts. John, what strike do you like for an SPX put? John, join one of our investment clubs and I'll let you know. I'm not going to sit here and day trade with you folks because that's not what Top Gun Options is, but this is what I do over in the investment clubs. All right, I got to get going. I'm going to blast out that email and text alert, and then I will get the replay posted on the replay page shortly. Folks, don't miss out, man. If you sat on your hands last January and February, and then as the market imploded, you heard that people were printing money. That was us, and I can teach you how to do that. I'm very passionate about what I do. I love the feedback from folks who we empower to do this by yourself. Nothing puts a smile on my face more when people leave. That might sound weird to you. It isn't. You don't go to Top Gun forever. I went to Top Gun. By the grace of God, I graduated from the course. They put a patch on my shoulder, and I went back to the fleet. So I love getting an email from people like, Wiz, I got it, man. You trained me up, and I'm heading out. Now, as a businessman, that kind of sucks, but I don't care. When you get out to the fleet, you're going to put the ladder down and tell other people about Top Gun Options. So my greatest metric of success is that you're no longer a member here. Okay? All right. Shit hot. Tomorrow, accelerated retirement, high noon. And then we'll close the doors tomorrow night with some we'll do like a long-term bullish trade either on China or something else. How about we do that? That'll be our tactic that we cover tomorrow night. Again, nobody else does this, folks. Nobody else out here opens the doors to their squadron and gives you an entire free week of stuff and places trades live. We do. Okay. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless. I'll see many of you tomorrow, and welcome aboard to all of our new members.